Morning, everyone. Welcome to a value-packed and amazing morning, hosted by myself, Jessica Clohessy from Give Panel, Marco from Relishing Digital, and Jesper, CEO of Better Now. We're really excited for you guys to join us today and chat through social fundraising in Europe throughout 2025. So today on the agenda, we're going to discuss Give Panel and Better Now, a partnership, why you don't need Facebook's native fundraising tools to be successful in 2025 and beyond. We're going to run through two fantastic case studies which document an Irish charity, Pieta's Jog in July, and a case study from Drop in the Ocean. We're going to offer expert advice on how your nonprofit can be successful in the social fundraising campaign space throughout 2025, and if we have time, a Q&A at the end.
Yeah, so I will start off with a short introduction to who Better Now is. So first of all, my name is Jesper, as already been introduced, and I'm CEO of Better Now. And Better Now basically provides white label peer-to-peer fundraising solutions for charities across Northern Europe and especially the Nordic countries. So we actually started out in Better Now as a fundraising platform where everything was branded with Better Now. What we learned is that no one really cares about us or any platform really care about you, the charity, the cause you support. And with a white label, it's sort of like about letting you be in control of the branding and storytelling and messaging. And we also use a ton of automation AI to help you scale peer-to-peer fundraising engagement and work with customers across Northern Europe, as mentioned. But that's basically the short intro to Better Now.
Hello, my name is Marco Kunze. I'm the CEO of Relishing Digital, and we are experts in peer-to-peer fundraising, specifically around social fundraising strategies. And we have worked on many Facebook or social media challenges that we're introducing today, including the Drop in the Ocean in Norway and, for example, Rote Nasen in Austria.
Thanks, Marco. So Give Panel, we know that great fundraising experiences don't just start at the fundraising page. And what we want to offer is an easy to use platform that helps you guys who are super busy fundraisers grow their income by meeting supporters where they're at. And that's across social media channels. We know that audiences are across Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, LinkedIn, and I'm sure the list goes on. And we know that fundraisers like to fundraise on platforms like Better Now, Facebook, GoFundMe, and Just Giving. But there's a step missing, which is the activation gap in the middle. And the activation gap, when we look at the fundraising funnel, we can break it into 3 stages. So as I said, on the top of the funnel, we have social media platforms like Facebook and Instagram, where your audience begins. And these platforms help you reach new fundraisers through organic content and ads, and they're really interested in your cause. At the bottom of the funnel, we have fundraising platforms. So this is where your fundraisers are going to fundraise and support you. But in the middle of the platform, we have the activation gap. And this is where Give Panel comes in, as we bridge the gap in the middle between audiences and fundraising. So we want to simplify the process of converting your interested supporters into active fundraisers. And we want to do this by teaming up with Better Now. And we want to enable seamless signups and automated engagement, like thanking, stewarding, and tracking your supporters through data. And this ensures that consistent nurturing to keep participants motivated and fundraising as much as they can.
Great. Yeah, and we are incredibly excited about this integration between Give Panel and Better Now. One of the things that we are told from all our customers when we are out talking with them is that they really like peer-to-peer fundraising as a channel, but they have one overreaching challenge, and that is often to scale the channels and especially to scale fundraiser recruitment. And here, the whole solution provided by GivePanel and the whole methodology behind social fundraising and virtual challenges, that is a really helpful way to scale peer-to-peer fundraising recruitment. Especially because it's as close as you might imagine to be a campaign in a box. And especially with the help with, for example, with the help of Relishing Digital and Marco, it is really a proven path forward to running a peer-to-peer fundraising campaign. And this is one of the reasons why we really believe in that this will be a successful partnership. And so it basically enables virtual challenges on Facebook, Instagram, or other social media platforms, where it will give a very fluent, streamlined sign-up flow from the platform and onwards to, in the end, getting a fundraising page on your peer-to-peer fundraising platform on your own homepage provided by BetterNow. So this cannot be more streamlined, and that's because of this whole partnership.
So we might be wondering, how is social fundraising still working without Facebook? And this is a really good question to ask. As we all know, as of the 1st of July in 2024, Meta no longer offers their fundraising tools, such as their donation buttons, their fundraisers, and charity manager across the EEA, affecting how myself included, when I was working in the nonprofit space, utilized Facebook and Instagram for donations. This had a huge impact on fundraising, and I can speak firsthand of how this affected myself when I was working across the virtual challenges space in the peer-to-peer campaign market, including our Facebook challenges, because we could no longer host directly on Meta's platforms or within their ecosystem. So we had to adapt and identify alternative methods to sustain social fundraising moving forward. And how we've done this is we've transitioned how to manage offline or manage off Facebook, and how we can run virtual challenges successfully without the need of Meta and their tools, leading to fantastic innovative solutions. And we've seen this through the Facebook channel funnel. So as you can see, the original Facebook challenge funnel looked like this. It was Facebook ads. We ran ads to attract participants. We had our Facebook lead form where leads were captured directly. We had our stewardship where supporters are nurtured and engaged. We had our GivePanel registration form where registrations were collected seamlessly. And then we had our Facebook fundraiser. And this was the step which enabled participants to set up their fundraiser directly on Facebook, making it easy for donations to come in. But what has changed? With Meta switching off its fundraising tools, the first 4 steps remain unchanged. So let's take a look at this. So as you can see, the process is 90% the same, bar the last step. So we can still run our Facebook ads, we can still capture our leads, we can still successfully steward our supporters through a nurturing process. We can still gather our registrations through our GivePanel one-click registration form. But the key is in the final step. Instead of using Facebook for donation tools, we now need to integrate an alternative donation checkout like BetterNow Fundraiser. This ensures that fundraising can continue to seamlessly be successful outside of Facebook's ecosystem and without their Facebook fundraising tools. So how does a platform, adding a new platform, change things? So I wanted to chat through some real life examples. So as you can see here, with a mental health charity in the UK running a 100 miles campaign, we can see that their active fundraisers across a platform like Just Giving is lower, and their active fundraisers from Facebook is higher. But if you look on the right-hand side of the screen, you can see that the average raise from a platform like Just Giving is significantly higher than Facebook, showing that the average raised is where we're seeing huge success off Facebook. And then to chat through the Facebook fundraising pages, so you can see that there's a 36.8% Facebook fundraising page activation rate. But on Just Giving, you can see a 63%. So this shows that with a Better Now integration and partnership, that we can see huge success off Facebook moving forward. And again, this is another example to ponder over, which proves the same again, where we're seeing average raised higher across platforms like Just Giving, and we really hope to see this success across Better Now as well.
Okay, so you're wondering maybe what are kind of virtual challenges, virtual social challenges. And the first thing is that they really leverage the power of social network. So we are looking at Facebook, Instagram, some of the other networks as well. They provide much lower acquisition cost than you see on many other channels. They provide more fundraisers and low costs for your fundraising. The most important thing is that we've seen hundreds of these virtual challenges happening every single month, and they raise millions for nonprofits like yourselves. And the wonderful thing is because we have been involved in so many of these challenges before, is that we have a ready-made campaign that has an established strategy, established user journeys and templates that you can easily adapt and also run your own social challenge, your own virtual challenge for your own organization. So maybe to give a little bit more of an idea of what is involved in it, the idea behind it is to do something like walking 10,000 steps a day in October. And so it's something that a simple idea that can be understood within 1 second. Really, really easy because this is how we work on social media. People need to see it and immediately react to it. It's easy to do. So we're talking step challenges, distances, and so on, and easy to take part in. Something that people are already familiar with, so we don't need to explain what it actually is. And something that I can do by myself because we want to recruit individuals. Ideally, they get together with friends, but they can do it by themselves. We don't need to bring big groups together. We often use steps or distances, something that is measurable and trackable. And you see that a little bit later because we want people to share what they're doing when they're taking part of it. We tend to do 1 month long challenges because it gives us a whole month where we can talk to them, we can steward them, where they can get engaged. But it actually doesn't need to be on brand. So a lot of these challenges have very little to do specifically with what your organization does. Walking, running, and so on is independent. So it works for a lot of different causes. So we start off with the meta ads, and you can see some examples there. They're really, really simple. We have a strategy for this. We have text for this that you can use. And as you can see, there are like 50 miles in 31 days, one challenge in the middle, for example. And they show exactly what you're doing. So it's about the challenge much, much more than it is about your organization. And we have templates for these. We know what images are most successful. And so you can run these ads on Meta to recruit a lot of people. So they sign up and they get to a lead form. And it's a very common lead form on Facebook that you can use. And all we are asking here is just for them to agree to the overall terms and conditions and to give you their email address. So we can start talking to them. And from that point, we use the Facebook groups. They are really, really powerful. We bring people in those groups and we can talk to them for a month while the challenge is happening and a month beforehand while we're recruiting them. It's the heartbeat for a lot of these virtual challenges. It's where everybody comes together, thousands and thousands of people, and we can talk to them on a daily basis. We can inspire them, motivate them, talk about the amazing work that you're doing. And at the same time, they are sharing their experiences. So they show photos of what they're doing. They show how many steps they've taken, and how they are having fun. They ask questions that we can answer. They have a shared experience. And it's a wonderful place to be in, and something that allows you to really talk to your supporters for a long period of time. So when they first come into it, and this is kind of where the Give panel and Better Now integration comes into play, is when they first come into the group, this is where we ask them to sign up. We send them a welcome pack, quite often with a nice t-shirt in it. And when they sign up and give us their contact details, this is when they also start creating their Better Now fundraising page that they will then use to raise money for your cause.
Brilliant. Thanks, Marco, for all that information. So let's summarize everything that we just discussed. So fundraising platforms outside of Facebook often are seeing higher average raised amount, while Facebook still excels in activation rates. This means that more people tend to start fundraisers on Facebook, but other platforms drive higher individual fundraising totals. We know that supporter behaviour is shifting, and many fundraisers are now exploring alternatives to Facebook for their activities. And this trend highlights the need to adapt and diversify fundraising strategies moving forward. Thirdly, the key to success is acquiring high quality leads and maintaining consistent engagement and stewardship with your supporters. By doing this, nonprofits can outperform Facebook on other platforms, achieving really high and exceptional results. And fourthly, effective connectivity and thoughtful stewardship, again, are essential for maximising fundraising outcomes across any platform. And there's ways to do this to have a really successful virtual challenge. And now I'm going to chat through a case study of Pieta. So for some context, I'm Jess, and I came from the Irish fundraising landscape before joining Give Panel, where I led virtual challenges in the Irish market. And in April of 2024, when Facebook sadly sent their emails around saying that they were going to exit the market, I think we all panicked and we were wondering, what will we do? What will we do with our challenges that we have going live in the next month or so? How can we adapt? So in essence, we had to adapt. We had to come up with a creative solution to offer our supporters ways to still engage with these challenges and virtual concepts, but off Facebook. And how we did this was we used Give Panel's Just Giving integration to continue running a successful challenge campaign. So we ran our Jog in July challenge across Instagram, and we sent all our Instagram supporters to Just Giving to fundraise on. And this proved to be highly successful for multiple reasons. We had our incentive model, which was, as you can see there, our tracker. So anyone that signed up received an incentive of a tracker to mark how many miles they had completed or kilometers they had completed on a daily basis. Secondly, we teamed up with an Irish influencer who hosts a run club here in Ireland, and teamed up and expanded our network out to her network, which brought us in a lot of new supporters and new donors. And thirdly, then we also had Just Giving as our fundraising mechanism, which proved to be highly successful in generating a higher average raised per our previous challenges. And on the next slide, we can see some of the results. So as you can see here, we had 1,135 registrations, which was absolutely fantastic. And we were delighted with a 67% email opt-in rate, because it meant that we could really garner and steward these individuals moving forward to become lifetime supporters. So it's really important to pay attention to your email opt-in rate, because yes, they may give to you once, but how can they give to us multiple times across their lifespan, and how can we get best value out of them? The average raise was absolutely incredible. It was one of the highest average raise we've ever seen or experienced from running challenges at Pieta for 5 years. and it was just under the €300 mark per active fundraiser, which was fantastic. And across Instagram as a platform, we raised just under €50,000, which was incredible. And we were singing from the building tops in delight with this result, because it proved to us that, okay, it's fine that Facebook's ecosystem and their fundraising tools turned off, because we easily adapted and integrated with another fundraising platform, just like Better Now, to prove success in this model. So I'm very excited about this model moving forward. I think it's definitely where you will see a lot of success in the average raise per active fundraiser, stewarding your fundraisers, and high average raised as well, overall.
And then for Drop in the Ocean, I've got some really interesting insights and some learnings that we've seen also from other challenges that I wanted to share with you. So Drop in the Ocean is a Norwegian refugee charity, and it was the first Facebook challenge, the first social challenge in Norway that happened at the time. All the photos that you're seeing in here are from the Facebook group. So you can see the kind of photos that the participants are actually sharing when they're taking part, when they're proud of doing something for the charity that they're raising money for. It was a very simple challenge, and these are the ones that work best, especially if you're starting with it. It was a 300 steps in November challenge. You can do distances, as I said before, but this was a simple step tracker because it means essentially doing 10,000 steps a day, which we know is sort of always seen as a good number of steps. So very, very simple to understand, and it's in 1 month. So people know exactly what it is that they're taking part and how long it will take. The results were amazing. We saw €75,000 raised. Obviously, it was in Norwegian kroner, but on average, that was raised for the campaign. They only spent €2,000 on Meta ads, which means that it wasn't really a big investment at all for that to get over nearly 1,400 people involved, and 85% of those were new contacts that they have been able now to communicate with. And overall for this campaign, they got a return on investment of 4.5. So that was really, really amazing for the first challenge that they have ever organized themselves. They had 2,000 group members. So if you're kind of looking back, most of these were recruited through the Meta ads. Some were existing supporters, obviously, but most of them were new to the organization, brought in, and these 2,000 group members were active for the whole period of time, sharing what they were doing when they were going out for walks and taking a lot of amazing selfies to really show the fun aspect of actually raising money for a good cause. So this was a pilot project, and we always suggest to run this as a pilot the first time around, so that you can design it to get a lot of the data and insights, understand what is working specifically for your organization, to test and learn, and bring in these learnings that you can then replicate in the future, and be ready to scale up. So if it works, that you have the ability to spend a little bit more on the ads, for example, because you're getting a lot of people for very little money involved. So if you can scale it up and you can amend it and change it throughout the campaign, then that always really helps to get the best out of the first campaign. Keeping it really simple. So this concept, the idea behind what people are doing is really critical. Nothing overcomplicated, something that people can immediately understand, immediately buy in. For the first time, just focus on the essentials. There are a lot of amazing things where you can do and support you with in terms of the engagement and how to run these challenges. But for the first one, you can just do the bare minimum and it will still be very, very successful for you. and to keep the messaging really, really clear and simple and easy. This is the whole thing. People are not reading things online, as we know, so they need to immediately get the message when we talk to them. Do what already works. So there are thousands and thousands of these challenges, all working in the same way in the UK, in Ireland, in Australia, in America, and some in Europe as well. So use the existing ad strategy that we have to recruit those supporters to run those ads on Meta. Use some incentives. So we always suggest to send out that fundraising pack, ideally with something like a t-shirt or so in there to get people interested, because that makes them fill out the form, and create the fundraiser. And they then feel that they really want to do something for your organization. Use the messaging that we already have, very established, very proven, and the user journeys. And the Facebook groups, they are a wonderful, wonderful place for you to talk to your supporters and hear what they're up to, and to inspire them really to raise more money for your cause. So these are two examples of the ads, and they are very, very simple. They're Norwegian for the drop in the ocean, and the photo on the left was actually taken by the son of the CEO that you can see in the photo, and she was walking the month before that. She was walking up in the mountains, and they took the photo, and it was the best performing photo. Very, very simple, just showing the steps, right? The walking outside. And in Norway, they love walking outside, as in so many countries. And then on the right, you can see the incentives. We used it because it was November, it wasn't t-shirt weather. We used the beanie, and people loved receiving it. And then they took a lot of photos with the logo on it, and they've worn it for a long time. And as you can see, the message around that, even if you can't kind of read it, it's very, very simple messaging that we've used to bring in people and to just sign up and get involved in the campaign. So we know that some things work in differently in different countries. So for you, it's obviously to adapt to the culture of your country, and we can help you with that because we work a lot on campaigns around the world. So the messaging needs to slightly change maybe, or the incentives, as we've seen, a beanie hat instead of a t-shirt. We know that we need to kind of over communicate. Peer-to-peer fundraising and these challenges are a little bit new for some of you. So we need to communicate a lot with the supporters to help them understand what to do and how to do it. We know that off Facebook donations, raising money on Better Now works really, really well, and people are very comfortable with it. And when I talk about adapting to the culture, one of the important things is that in some countries you have things where you have leaderboards, right? People go out and they talk about how much money they have raised. But actually, when you go to a lot of the Nordic countries, this is a no-no, right? So you wouldn't really do that. And we can work with you to make sure that the messaging and everything behind that works specifically for your organization and in your country. So as I said, the beanie worked really, really well. The Norwegians love walking outside, -8 degrees. It didn't matter. They were out there. And those are actual photos of participants that have taken part in the challenge and raised money when they were out taking photos and inspiring others to do the same, to continue walking, to continue fundraising by sending all these amazing and fun photos of them being outside. So what are the other benefits? One is really about getting existing supporters that are keen to get actively involved. People want to do something, and sometimes it's hard to always just ask for donations. So this is a great offer for people to get involved in your cause and do something that they might enjoy. We know that ads, Meta ads, in this way work really well to recruit new supporters. So you're getting a lot of people that may not have supported you before involved. You're talking to them on a regular basis. And as Jess said, you can get them to become long-term supporters for your cause. And it's a great way of building your brand, right? You're having all these people posting these photos on social media, asking for donations, talking about your organization, wearing the hoodie or wearing, a t-shirt and going out and giving much more value to your charity brand. So some of the things that we have also learned is that these Facebook groups, they're incredibly powerful, but they do take some time. So you want to bring in some of your volunteers and some other people to be part of it, to create a lovely culture, encouraging space to be part of this amazing challenge. We also need a lot of information and support for the fundraisers because they may not have done this before. And the great thing is that we already know what they need, and we already have a lot of these information ready at hand that you can use to talk to your supporters. And if you have a well-known brand, we have seen that these ones always work a little bit better because it's easy to raise money for a cause that everybody knows. But also, it does work for smaller brands as well. And finally, we have seen one of the most amazing things is that people love taking their dogs on the walks. So animals, as always, as we know, always work, especially for these amazing challenges. So if you've done your first few challenges, you can do a specific dog walk as well. You're on mute.
That's true. I'm on mute. So thanks, Marco. And yeah, I want to recap some of the things that we have discussed and talked about here. So the first and foremost is that still seeing huge success with virtual challenges despite Facebook tools closing down. This is in no way a blockade or stop for running virtual challenges and social fundraising, and incredible happy for that, of course. The whole model for running these campaigns is well proven. They work, and as the example Marco just presented, they also work in the Nordic market, and they are replicable and they're scalable, and that's another key takeaway from this. And the third is that you can get started now because we have this partnership with GivePanel and BetterNow that makes it really, really easy to get it off ground because it really have that whole, it is a whole package now. You don't need to invent the wheel. The campaign is ready to launch. The concept is with some adjustments for cultural and whatnot can be easily adjusted in. So it is quite, now I'm gonna put it like an easy campaign, but we know how to get this going. So if that inspires you and you think that could be a really good thing good idea to run a campaign next year, well, the next step would just be to get in touch with any of us here on this call, and we'll help you get started. So I don't know if Jessica or Marco, you have any final thoughts or else?
No, I think you summed it up brilliantly, Jesper. Thank you so much. And as I said, if I can inspire anyone coming directly from the Irish fundraising landscape where these tools were switched off and we had success, then I'd be very happy to have a conversation with you from a first-hand experience as well. So thank you so much for joining today.
Yeah, cool. Yes,
thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.